Hi, welcome to everything you need to know about location-based advertising. If you give me a few minutes of your time in the back of this cab today, I'll get you up to speed with everything you need to know about location-based advertising. Location-based advertising is becoming a critical component for many brands and scaled enterprises. The Location-Based Marketing Association recently reported that 25% of budgets are being spent on location-based marketing campaigns, and that over 50% of brands are using location data to target their customers. Although location data is not new, it can be very much misunderstood. Location data can be so much more than just being in the moment. By understanding where the device moves and where it's been gives us a really clear picture of who the consumer is. So the big opportunity lies in targeting consumers using insights derived from their real-world behaviours. So across this series with the drum, I'm going to be talking to you about how smart location data derived directly from the mobile device can enable advertisers to target their consumers more effectively. As Verve's research shows, this is worth doing. When location is done right, 42% of consumers click on the ad. First, I'd like to talk about why the mobile device is so important to location-based advertising. For consumers, the mobile device is the most personal device and goes everywhere with them. If you want to meet a friend for dinner, if you want to go to the cinema, then the mobile device is used to get you there. What's really exciting is the global scaled opportunity that mobile presents. Cisco are predicting that by 2020, there'll be 5.5 billion mobile users across the globe. That's 70% of the global population. And here in the UK, Ofcom says that 1 in 6 adults now use only smartphones or tablets to access the internet. And what about the generation that have never lived without their mobile device? Gen Z. According to our research, 71% of Gen Z said they prefer ads to be customized to their location. This represents a huge opportunity for advertisers who can use location data for targeting in a highly relevant way. The likelihood of positive outcomes is greatly enhanced through the smart use of this data. So how do advertisers and brands tap into the huge opportunity that location data-driven mobile presents for engaging with consumers? And actually, it really starts with first-party data. The best way of seeing where a device has been is by taking data directly from that device. We do this by the smart use of technology, but also embedding a small piece of code or SDK into the device to see where it moves over time. All of this is pointless if you don't start with the right data. If I can be sure of where you've been, then there are lots of other data sources that we can use to enable advertisers to build a much deeper understanding of who the consumer really is. Let me give you an example. If we see an individual in the airport, in the city, in various restaurants across the West End, we're able to start to paint a clear picture of that individual based on these behaviours. We can start to blend that location information with where that individual has commuted from. Perhaps Surrey into the city, and we can start to make some assumptions that this is a high net worth individual. This is fundamentally different to the individual that we see in Shoreditch, who is coming in and out of a university campus on a daily basis. So the location data has enabled us to fundamentally understand these two different types of consumers. But that's just the tip of the iceberg with what we can do with this data. For example, if you take the fact that an individual works in a building where there are lots of media companies, then you can assume that individual probably works in media. Likewise, if that individual walks around various different shops and restaurants in the West End, we can identify which shops and which restaurants to give us an even better picture of that particular individual. So by blending different data sets with the location data, we're able to paint a really deep and rich picture of that consumer. In summary, mobile location data is uniquely placed to help us to build rich, deep pictures of consumers. And as the general data market matures, it's becoming increasingly important that we understand where the data has come from, which in turn requires us to upgrade how we derive location data. There is no better source of understanding a consumer's location than to look at and derive the data from that consumer's device itself. Over the coming weeks, I'll be explaining the difference between good and bad location data and why that really matters to advertisers and marketers.